Hi everyone, Victor here again, and in today's lesson, we're going to be building our Ansible lab for this course. So here's my control node, which is ACN Ansible control node with the IP address of 192.168.72.148, and I also have two managed nodes with the IP addresses of 146 and 145. So I have it as AMN1 meaning Ansible Managed Node 1 and AMN2 meaning Ansible Managed Node 2. So in one of our previous lessons, we have installed the Ansible software on the control node, and we also created a user vector and made the user a pseudo user. And in this other node too, we would also do the same, but let's just continue, we will get there. So the first thing we need to do is to be able to resolve the IP addresses to the host names. And since I don't have DNS, we're going to leverage on the etc host file. So for the Ansible control node, if I do cat slash etc host file, so you can see the parameters here. You can see that I have the IP address for the ACN and I have the FQDN here too. So for the AMN1, we have the same thing here, and for the AMN2, we have the same thing here. So what we're going to do is that we will make sure that we also have all these parameters in the host files of the two managed nodes. And when you come here, I can just cut the file. You can see that I have same here, and if you come here too as well, so you can see that I have the same here too as well. Depending on your own environment, you can just put in your own IP address and your own host name. And if you want to use the same thing I am using exactly, of course, you feel free to copy this and put this in your own environment as well too. So now that we've been able to do this, so if I, for example, if I just do ping amn2.technique.com, so you can see that this is responding. So the next thing we're going to do is to create the users that will be doing all the Ansible operation for both the control node and the manage nodes. And for the control node, I have the user Victor, and I have also already made this user Victor a pseudo user, and we did that in one of our previous lessons. So for the manage nodes to, we need to create the user Victor and make them a pseudo user too as well, because the user Victor is the user that will be doing all the Ansible operations on the manage nodes. So if I do id Victor, oops, id Victor, you can see that I have the user Victor. And if I come here too as well, what all you can do is to create the user by saying user add Victor. I already have the user here, and you can also say password Victor, and you can password the user. And what you can do is to create a drop-in file in the sudoers directory. So if I do cd etc sudoers.d, if I do ls, you can see the drop-in file here. And if I do cat Victor, so it's just the same thing we did on the control node. You will do same for the managed nodes too as well. You know, we have we have the same user too here, which is Victor, and Victor is also ID Victor here. Is also, yeah, Victor is also a pseudo user. So having done this, the next thing we're going to do is to create the Ansible configuration file on the control node. And this is my control node. So if I do, if I go to the directory, which is cd slash home slash Victor slash Ansible, so if I do pwd, so you can see my directory here. And if I do ls, you can see that I have already created the Ansible configuration file here. And if I do cut Ansible Ansible.cfg, you can see what I have here in the configuration file. I have the default, and I also have the privilege escalation section. I've already explained the meaning of all these parameters in our previous lesson. So the next thing we need to do now is to create the inventory file, just like we specified here. And if I do ls, you can also see my inventory file here. Don't forget that the inventory file is in slash home slash victor slash ansible slash inventory, and that's why we also need to put our inventory file here. And if I do cut inventory, so let me just do vi inventory, so you can see the manage nodes in our inventory file. So what I want to do is that I also want to create a group. So I can just call this group, let's say development group. So I can put in the amn1 dot technique dot com. Oops, amn1 dot technique dot com and amn2 dot technique dot com. It doesn't matter anyway. You can either make it caps or in lowercase. That doesn't matter for DNS. So now that we have our inventory file, the next thing we need to do, let me just quickly check something here. All right, so this is good. So the next thing we need to do is to create our SSH keys, right? So we need to configure the SSH based authentication and not password based authentication. And from the control node, we can generate the SSH keys and copy them to the manage nodes. And of course, to generate the SSH keys, you can just use the ssh-keygen command. So because I already have, so just press enter, and it's saying that should it write the existing key, I'm going to say no. So I already have an existing key here. In your own case, just press enter, enter, enter till it generates the key. And when the key is being generated, all you need to do is to just use the SSH copy ID command to copy the key to the manage nodes. So this would be amn1.technique.com. So I already have it copied there. So all you need to do is to press enter and then do for the AMN2, and you can press enter and copy the SSH keys. You know, you can either use the FQDN or the IP address, whichever one you wish to use. You can use that to copy these keys to the manage nodes. And when you're done doing this, the next thing you're going to do is to test and see if you can log into the manage nodes without prompting you for password. And I can just test by saying SSH Victor at amn1.technique.com. So you can see that I can log in successfully without prompting me for password. So I can just exit AMN1 and then I can try for AMN2. So you can see that I can log in without asking me for a password. And the next thing I'm going to do is to test my connection. And to do that, I can just say Ansible dash dash list. I want to list all the hosts in the inventory. Ansible. Oops. So I'm in AMN2. Sorry about that. So I need to go back to the Ansible control node. And now I can say Ansible dash dash list hosts all. So you can see that I've been able to list all the hosts in the inventory file, and I can also say Ansible. So let me ping the host and let's see if it's going to reply. So I'm going to use the ping module to ping all the hosts. And if I do enter, let's see what we're going to have here. So you can see a success. You can see that everything is green. So I would have actually used a playbook and used the Ansible Navigator command, but since we've not discussed about playbook, we're going to look at how to write playbooks in the next lesson, and then we're going to use the Ansible Navigator command to run this ping command again. So thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next lesson. And please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment. When you do this, it will encourage us to do more of this video. And I'm also going to be dropping the link to the documentation of this lesson in the description box below. And I'll also drop the link to the Ansible Series 1 lab lesson also in the description box below. It's the same thing actually. So thank you once more. And I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye for now.